Interesting night. Nets and Celtics. That was bizarre. Just about everybody involved in that deal. Jason Terry, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. Then all of a sudden, draft picks going to the Celtics. I think the Celtics have 9 first-round draft picks over the next 5 years. What has happened in the last couple of weeks here with the NBA, and certainly the Celtics? And the former Celtics head coach, now with the Clippers, Doc Rivers, joining us. Doc, how is L.A.?
Well, I'm on my way to see one of your friends, Al Michaels, at a certain place. So LA is good.
Oh, okay. So I can't say where you're playing.
Yeah, you can say where I'm playing.
Okay. So you're going to Bel Air?
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you nervous up there on the first tee because you're right up there where everybody's having lunch and the putting green is there and everybody can watch you tee off?
I am. It's amazing. You know, I could sit and shoot 100 free throws with, hundreds and thousands of people screaming, yet I get on that first tee and I am shaking in my boots. I just, it is. You know how it feels.
How nervous, though, are you when you take a challenge on like the Clippers? If you were trying to put it into words of, there's anticipation, excitement, whatever it might be, but just being the nervousness of being a great coach with the Clippers.
Well, it's the nerves of what you want. I mean, I think it's when you're in a fray like this, you kind of want that, you embrace that, you want the pressure, you embrace the pressure, and nerves always come with that. I mean, you're always thinking, can I get this right? And that's just part of it. I would rather have that than not have it, I guess. But it is something that it's a huge challenge. When you think about the Clippers and they've won 2 playoff series and since they've been in LA. And my goal with them is to try to win 4 series in one season. That's the ultimate goal, obviously, and so it is a huge challenge.
I know that last night on ESPN, Shelley Smith had talked to you about what Bill Simmons said. You said he's got to, understand the real story. He accused you of quitting on the Celtics. Help me understand then what the real story is.
It's not that hard of a story, Bill. I think last night happened exactly the way Danny and the Celtics wanted to. They wanted to unload contracts for draft picks, and I happen to be one of those contracts. Here's a direct quote from an owner. Listen, it's a win-win for us. If we can get a pick for you and you have a chance to go to a team like the Clippers, you can continue to coach and continue to pursue winning, and we can get to rebuilding. And that's exactly what happened last night. So clearly, yeah, I had a selfish motive. I had a chance to not rebuild and go to a team that is in a different phase of their franchise, so everybody benefited. And I clearly, at least I hope, I benefited from it. But this was done together. This is me not walking into the Celtics saying I quit or anything like that. And Bill's a fan. Is he qualified to do the NBA? Well, we can debate that all day. But Bill's a fan, and I get that. Not a friend of mine or a fan of mine, and he never has been. And I just, I rarely respond. You know that. I don't do it very often, but I just kind of had enough of that. And I thought it kind of ruined the broadcast last night because he kept bringing it up. So it was almost like he had an agenda. And, I was just getting tired of it.
Who initiated?
I wish we were on the court.
Oh, you like to go one-on-one with Bill Simmons?
No, I'll pass.
As far as initiating this, because do you say to Danny Ainge, or the feeling I got, and you can clear it up, is that Danny Ainge came to you and said, basically, we'd like to trade you. We're going to rebuild, and we're going to get rid of Garnett and Pierce and Jason Terry as well. Are you open to that? Now, clear that up. That's what I had heard. Whether that's true or not.
Well, that's half true, honestly. Danny and I more talked about it. We kind of discussed what was out there with the Clipper thing. And, and Danny wasn't sure if I wanted to come back. Not rebuild, just come back. And I did have, that was a clear thought of mine. And it had nothing to do, I guess it did have a little to do with the rebuilding. It was just more I'd been there for quite a long time. And, and I kept wondering you're there 9 years, is your voice still being heard, and will it be heard through a rebuild? So when that came up, I absolutely told Danny, yeah, look at see what you can get, and if it's a win-win for him and me. I mean, what if it had been another team that offered that pick? That I didn't think would be a good situation for me.
Well, I'd heard
that would have
Denver.
been difficult.
Denver, I heard, offered a similar deal.
Well, they did, but it was after the Clipper thing had already kind of gotten out the gates. Now, Danny told me that Denver had called earlier and he had denied it, and I had no idea about that. And then when it came back later, I guess Denver called again, and that's when Danny told me about it. But at that point, the Clipper thing had almost been done, almost not been done. And at that point, I wanted to pursue the Clipper job. I thought it was a great opportunity for me, and I thought I should pursue it, And that's what we did. You look at it, and again, you have a chance to get off my contract. You have a chance to get a first-round pick, and I have a chance to go to a team that has a chance to win. Danny ended up with how many first-round picks yesterday? 1,000 over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what he wanted to do and the franchise wanted to do. And I had no problem being used in that because I was benefiting as well.
Are you being painted as a bad guy in this?
Well, by certain guys, but I have not been. And Danny actually said that in the press conference. But listen, I get it. When a coach leaves, especially or a player for that matter, and his contract's not up, he quit or he left, and that's how some fans feel. I would say the majority of Boston fans don't feel that way, but some do, and Bill clearly does.
Clear up the relationship with Rondo. Did it get heated enough where you two might have come to blows?
No. First of all, I hope I'm smarter than that. I know I'm a pretty big guy, Dan, but I don't think I'm going to be fighting an NBA player at this point in my life. I had some fights when I played. I will say that. But at this point in my life, I think my fighting days are over with.
But how heated did it get with Rondo?
As heated as it would get in any, he at least once, maybe twice, exploded in the locker room, and along with, it happens. It happens, with a lot of players, and it doesn't happen every day, but it does happen. But Rondo and our relationship is terrific. On the news, once the whole deal was consummated, we exchanged texts. They're terrific, and we have a good relationship. So, it's amazing how when you get traded or you leave, all of a sudden stories that happened 3 years ago, and that's, by the way, that story that I don't even know who wrote it, happened 3 years ago. And then all of a sudden it's in the news. I'm always amused by that.
Was there any chance the Clippers were going to follow through with KG? Were you still working on that part of maybe bringing him in?
Well, that was part of the reason that first of all, I thought the chance to go to L.A. and coach Blake and Chris and DeAndre and that group was going to be terrific. But also, I had a chance to stay with Kevin Garnett, and that was extremely appealing as well at the beginning. Now, once the trade was consummated and the league informed us that none of that would happen, then no reason to pursue it because you knew it couldn't happen.
Have you talked to Chris Paul?
Yeah, I try to talk to him every day.
You don't let him go too far.
No, not
Do
too
you
far.
talk to Chris Paul more than you talk to your son?
Right now, that's probably, yeah.
Is Chris Paul a Clipper? Is he staying there?
Yeah, I think so. But again, you just hope so. That's all you can do every day is you hope so until he signs. I guess none of us really know, but yeah, I think so.
But have you asked him
to be a Clipper? I think he wants to stay here, and I think it could be terrific.
What do you do that's going to be different than Vinny Del Negro, considering the season the Clippers had last year?
Well, I don't need to do a lot more, to be honest. Vinny did a terrific job. He really did. They won 56 games, and that should not be lost. It's not lost on me, I can tell you that. But, there are things we have to do better. The first thing we have to do, we need ad shooting. We need to improve. We need to improve our defense from the 3-point line, but pick and roll defense. Vinny had that team second in the league and pick and roll defense. So Benny did a lot of good things. You know, the chemistry is always something that you can work on, and that's something that I would have to work on. It's a young team, man. And I think to understand with young teams, you have to get them to believe or want to win over the individual success. And I think that's the most difficult challenge with most young teams. I think most veteran teams, it's the exact opposite of what you would think. You know, veteran teams are easier in a lot of ways because they're already over themselves. They already know who they are and what they're going to be. And so for them, it's an easy process to give in and to kind of sacrifice to a team. For younger teams, I've always found that it's been more difficult.
Favorite memory that you'll have of the Boston Celtics aside from winning a championship is what?
Well, besides from winning a championship,
Yep.
you know, it's going to be a strange one for you. I would say Game 6 last year in the Garden, we are getting destroyed by LeBron James and the Miami Heat. I would say 99.9% of all NBA fans would have left. And our fans stayed and stood and cheered and cheered and cheered. If you remember that, it was, for me, it was one of the most emotional things I've ever seen by a group of fans who saw a team in us who was just trying their best to win a game and upset the Miami Heat. And they just showed their appreciation. I think of all the things, maybe even over the Gatorade bath by Paul Pierce. Maybe even over that. If I remember one thing, it'll be that.
Before I let you go, I don't know how high we can elevate the Nets with the influx of new old talent that they have. But if you're looking at that roster, comparing it to the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls with Derrick Rose, the Indiana Pacers, where do the Nets rank in the power rankings with those teams?
Well, right up there. You know, Jason Kidd, they hired Lawrence Frank, who was with me, and he's going to be terrific, by the way, for Jason. I think that is a super hire by Jason Kidd, and you know I'm going to just let them fight it out. But their culture just changed. You know, when you bring Kevin Garnett into a basketball team, you have an immediate culture change, and the Nets, forget the on-court stuff. They're going to benefit so much just from getting Kevin on the roster. It's going to be an amazing transformation for them.
Can they beat the Heat?
I don't know. You know, I get to worry about now the West for the first time in my coaching career, so I have my own issues.
All right, Doc, can you beat the Heat?
Yeah, I hope so. Now, I'll put it that way. But, you know, listen, back-to-back champions, the best player in the NBA is still in Miami. They're the team to beat until further notice.
Oh, by the way, Tyronn Lue, coach of the Celtics, or is he going with you?
He's going with me, but that doesn't mean that Danny won't give me a call and ask for permission, and I would gladly give it to him. You know, all my assistant coaches, I want to be head coaches. So I think Tyronn Lue has a shot. Jay Larry Nagel, who was on my staff last year, is another one. Those two guys are exceptional coaches, and I wouldn't be surprised if Danny brought them both in to interview.
Take it easy on Al Michaels at Bel Air, okay?
I'll try, slowly.
Doc, thank you. Thanks for calling in. Congrats.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
All right, Doc Rivers.